Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Monday morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing well out there this morning and having a wonderful start to your day. And I hope everyone's having a great beginning to their new week out there so far. We do have some things to talk about in this morning's videos. We have another storm system that's going to move across the country over the next 24 to 48 hours. And with it, there will be an opportunity for a blizzard on the cold side, and there will be some severe weather, especially as we get into Wednesday on the warm and moist side of the storm system. Now, I do not think this will be even comparable to what we just dealt with over the weekend, but like I said, especially as we get into Wednesday, there could be a pretty large swath of the country that at least has a risk of strong to severe thunderstorms. So we'll speak on that. We'll speak on the blizzard side, winter storm side of things. We'll kind of break down the storm system in a nerding out way, if you will, like we always do. And then we'll talk a little bit about a time period we're already watching for this coming weekend. Especially Sunday, the Storm Prediction Center has actually already dropped a 15% risk of severe weather across some of the same areas that just dealt with severe weather over the weekend, unfortunately. So we'll speak on that. And then we'll talk about today's weather. If you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. And if anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below. You know, unfortunately, we did have several fatalities over the weekend with this severe weather event, and you know, it's always awful to hear about. I guess the good news out of all of it is Saturday, especially Saturday, did not materialize as high end as it could have. Things certainly could have been a lot worse, and we'll just leave it at that. Anytime you have a high risk, the Storm Prediction Center puts that out. I mean, pretty much it's a loaded gun type setup. All the ingredients are out there for things to get really, really bad. And I think it could have got a lot worse than what it did. So we are fortunate for that. So with all that being said, let's get rocking and rolling. So let's speak on the winter weather side of things first. Okay, in this area in kind of teal blue color, this is where you have winter storm watches. Okay, and I really think some of these will upgrade to a blizzard warning. I think a lot of them will upgrade to just a winter storm warning, but you have the possibility of a blizzard in this area. I mean, this includes all the way down to a couple counties in Colorado, several counties in Kansas, Hayes. You have winter storm watches, Goodland, Kearney up to Grand Island, Lincoln, Omaha, Sioux City, all the way through Dodge City. It's just a couple counties shy to your west and north from Des Moines, but the entire just about northwest section of Iowa, winter storm watches, these go all the way up to just south of Minneapolis. Cannot speak this morning, it's a Monday. Rochester, winter storm watches, Eau Claire, winter storm watches, and I do think these will get extended all the way up through this area over the next few updates, maybe over the next 24 hours or so. So this is the main topic for right here at the beginning of the video. It's crazy. It's not super rare to get this at all. You know, we still get winter weather up here this time of the year, even though we're getting kind of in the second half of March now. It's not totally uncommon. It happens every single year, but this is the potential for a blizzard. So let's speak on the storm system. Let's talk about the Euro, and we'll just show you this. We're going to start this off for tomorrow evening. Okay, we already got snow heavy breaking out across the northern high plains. Snow starting to overspread into South Dakota. A little bit of snow starting to fall in northwest Nebraska. Make sure I don't get my states mixed up here. 987 low. Once again, a strong low pressure popping off the Rockies, moving across the plains. It's going to bring strong winds for everybody. Once again, we need to learn how to get some moisture down here again in the southern high plains, but it's been difficult, and it normally is when you get low pressures that are cutting to the north like this. But snow flying around across the Rockies. Now, as we continue to move this, we start to get into the middle of the night tomorrow night. Light to moderate, at times heavy snow begins to break out across the high plains all the way down to eastern Colorado. 986 low here, taking another 12 hours, and this is Wednesday morning. We get an all-out winter storm breaking out across areas in Nebraska. See it here. This is pretty heavy snow right here, all the way down into western Kansas with a 985 low right here. Okay, this is probably throwing back a lot of strong winds into this region right in here. So this is probably blizzard, at least on and off blizzard conditions right here into this region. All right, so we continue to move this. We take it into about midday Wednesday. This is a corridor of pretty heavy snow, guys. I mean, it's kind of common. It's like a comet head all the way down into Central areas of Kansas, it's snowing like crazy. Rain switches to snowing like Omaha, Lincoln, surrounding areas. It's snowing pretty good there. Snowing for the entire northwest corner of Iowa, all the way into southern, especially southeastern areas of Minnesota. Does this snow line make it all the way up to Minneapolis? I think it does. It's just, I think you guys are plenty cold enough for snow. It's just, how far north does the heaviest moisture get? Snow falling pretty good in northern Wisconsin, starting to get all the way into the UP of Michigan, and we take it all the way to about Wednesday evening. Still snowing back here in western areas of Iowa, the southeastern corner of Minnesota, including like Rochester, and then Eau Claire is getting hit hard with snow, and the entire northern half of Wisconsin is getting pretty heavy snow, including the UP of Michigan. And we take this all the way out to about Thursday morning, and any rain switches to snow even in the eastern UP, but I do think this will be a central to western UP heavy snowstorm up here. Could get some rain switching, even some snow down into Chicago, and then the storm's just about done. So let's break it down from like Wyoming, Colorado, points east. So this is the snowfall forecast for these areas in Wyoming between now and about 6 p.m. Wednesday. So obviously microclimates due to higher elevated regions will play a factor with this. Laramie itself 2 to 5, Casper 2 to 4, and then there's many other areas listed on this map too. And then we head on down to Colorado, maybe an inch or less in Denver. Not expecting a whole lot even in eastern Colorado where the system can get going, but 2 inches or less, 3 inches or less in general for the eastern sections, northeastern sections of Colorado. Obviously the Rockies will get more snow from this. But then we start to get into what I would say is the heart of the storm system as far as the plains. This is Nebraska as a whole. Now there is some wide ranges in here. 1 to 5 in Broken Bow. Lexington 1 to 4. Grand Island 2 to 5. So there's still some question marks. But the confidence gets higher, I would say, in eastern Nebraska, where Omaha 2 to 5, Tikama, hopefully I said that right, 4 to 9, Lincoln 2 to 5. So this is definitely going to be a late season winter storm for you guys. Columbus 2 to 6. So blizzard conditions in this area too. Excuse me, strong winds. Even the discussion from the Winter Storm Watch discusses this, the potential for a winter storm watch. So the potential for a blizzard. Now we break it on down into Kansas. I don't expect a huge snow event down to Kansas, but certainly from Hayes points north, you could get a few inches of snow, of wet snow, and blizzard conditions all the way down here, down to Colby, down to Hayes, Norton. Even though it's just a few inches of snow, this could be blowing around like crazy with such a strong low pressure moving through. Okay. Now, as we continue to move, we show a very small section of southeast South Dakota. Sioux Falls, 3 inches or less is what they're going for. Vermilion, 7 inches or less. They don't even have a range. They just say, hey, 7 inches or less of snow. Sioux City could get 7 inches of snow. So it's pretty wild stuff. But hey, they will probably fine tune this here in the next few updates. But that's everybody else in that area. And then Iowa, Des Moines itself, nothing to about 2 inches is possible. Ames, a trace to 4. Dodge City, 3 to 7. Storm Lake, 4 to 10. Algona, 5 to 10. Estherville, maybe I'm just thinking about that too much. 4 to 10. Mason City, 4 to 8. Sheldon, 2 to 7. Sioux City, 3 to 8. I have a cat in here. Not much for eastern Iowa, southeastern Iowa. This will not be a big event for you guys. And then we get up into Minnesota. There's going to be a sharp cutoff somewhere in Minnesota. It's probably going to be around or just north of the Minneapolis, the Twin Cities areas. So where's that going to be? But Minneapolis itself, 5 inches or less is what they're going for. You get south, though, Rochester, 4 to 10. Faribault, hopefully I said that right, 3 to 9. Albert Lea, 4 to 10. Fairmont, 3 to 9 inches of snow. La Crosse, 1 to 5. But this will be a big winter storm, late season winter storm, blizzard conditions for southeastern areas of Minnesota for sure. And getting up here to the northern areas of Wisconsin, certainly several inches of snow from Eau Claire up to Rhinelander, Ladysmith. Someone's probably going to try to sneak and get 8 to 12 inches of snow in this area. But this will be the corridor. It'll be snowing very hard, blizzard conditions in this area. So if you live in this region right here, Wisconsin, a pretty significant snowstorm is on the way. And then we'll finish this off by looking at the UP of Michigan, Marquette, 2 to 9. So pretty wide range, but basically between Ironwood and Marquette, this will probably be I would say the highlight of the storm in the UP. But Houghton going for 1, maybe 8 inches of snow. So pretty wide range. And the winds with this will be significant. Once again, we're going to get a swath of 50 to 65 mile per hour wind gusts that eject out of the southern plains and move across the central U.S. And, this will be where your snow is falling. Let's see if I can draw it correctly. Probably right into here. Probably the heaviest of the snow. So you kind of, overlap where I have the strong winds with the circle I just drew and the line I just drew. And it tells you you're definitely going to probably get blizzard conditions in this area right here where they're going for about 40 to 55, 60 mile per hour wind gust. So definitely a big wind threat with this. I don't think it'll be as big as what we saw over the weekend, but certainly significant. Now, severe weather because of this storm system will be there because the low will most likely be kind of cutting, I would say, kind of through this region right into here. Maybe a little bit further south. I got Chloe. Chloe's a cat I haven't talked about much. She won't let me pick her up. But she's a funny cat. She's our newest cat that we have. But if you just saw her, she's just chilling, moving around. She's like a moving carpet. She's just a fuzzball, all hair. But anyways, marginal risk of severe weather also for the same areas that could potentially get a blizzard. So there's a chance you get severe weather before a blizzard moves in for the Omaha, Lincoln area. So a very dynamic early week of winter. A very early dynamic week of weather for areas of like Omaha and Lincoln. Wild stuff. Could get some strong to severe storms in this area. Getting into Des Moines. So we'll watch. The tornado threat, it doesn't even have a highlighted area, but there probably will be a small tornado risk, but just a marginal level 1 out of 5 risk of severe weather. Now we get into day 3. This is also driven off this low to the north. Now I do think it's more of a conditional threat down here, but if anything can get going in this pink circled area, it could be supercells. So we basically have a level 1 out of 5 risk of severe weather from the Midwest all the way down to areas of the deep south. And I do think we'll get a bump up to a slight risk somewhere into here. But right now, just a very large marginal risk. It covers a huge area, guys. From Dixie all the way up to Chicago, Madison, all the way over to Des Moines. So all we know right now is that, there is a 5% risk of any severe weather. This will fine tune as we get a little bit closer. And I do think we'll get a bump up to a slight risk somewhere. So we'll figure that out. And really what's driving the severe weather threat is because we have this low pressure that we just talked about on the winter weather side that's going to eject across the country. And with it, we're going to get a field of favorable wind energy that's going to support lift for thunderstorms. So you kind of see this area right in here, how it kind of dives down and shoots across this region. This will help pull up just enough moisture into this area to provide some what we call thermodynamics for severe weather. Now, kinematics will be there. These are winds at about 18,000 feet up in the air, and they will meet up right into here. And we will certainly have some flow that is favorable to get some of these storms going at 18,000 feet up. 50, 60 knots of mid-level flow or upper level flow. That'll definitely get the job done through here when you have just a slither of surface moisture, which I'll show you here in a second. And then as this low really begins to deepen, you can see how the wind energy begins to get stronger. So we have an over 100 knot mid-level jet screaming across areas of Missouri. This will provide a lot of wind energy to really provide a forcing mechanism to get these thunderstorms going across this marginal risk area for Wednesday. And that extends all the way down into this area right into here. There's a lot of wind energy. Push these storms, get these storms going. I do think we'll get a damaging wind threat that will probably drive a slight risk upgrade. I would say we get a slight risk all the way through this region right into here. If I had to guess, but it might not be that big. But there's going to be a lot of wind energy moving through this region. And because the flow's coming, out the west, southwest here, as we're getting into Tuesday, there's just enough marginal moisture to provide some severe weather. Dew points in the 40s and 50s. It's not a lot, but that'll get the job done up in the Midwest. Now, as we are starting to get into Wednesday, we definitely have enough moisture. And once again, it's not a lot. We get dew points in the 50s, the low 60s. And, you can see why there's a severe weather threat through this region because of this little slither of moisture right through here getting pulled up out the Gulf in this region. And that's underlapping the kinematics that support severe weather. Now, I'm sure there's going to be a little isolated area. We'll have to watch for some low-level wind flow through this area. That will probably provide enough ingredients for a tornado risk, but we'll figure that one out as we get closer. But ingredients certainly there for some severe weather. Now, we're going to fast forward a couple days ahead of this time frame, all the way into Sunday, 6 days from now. They already have a slight risk, 15% risk, of any severe weather within 25 miles in a given location in this area. This is for this coming Sunday, guys. So let me 100% verify this is Sunday. I'm second guessing myself. Make sure this isn't Saturday. Nope, it's Sunday. So I was right. Should have just trusted myself. So we already have a 15% risk of a severe weather for Sunday. This includes the Arklatex area, Little Rock, almost over to Oklahoma City, Dallas, Fort Worth, down to Jackson, Mississippi, Shreveport, Memphis, Tennessee. Once again, this area is going to be under the gun for some severe weather. So it's basically a level 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather for Sunday. Now, what's driving this? There's actually going to be some energy that flows down from the northwest to the southeast. So as we're starting to get into Sunday midday, we start to see just blobs of convection right here, down here. And just think of that as, hey, thunderstorm potential. Now, I want to get a little bit closer to this system before we really start to break down all the dynamics and the ingredients and stuff. It's kind of a different system. You're not getting kind of an injection of a low that's kind of going like this. Instead, we have some energy kind of crashing down like this. So it's a little different than our typical severe weather threat, I believe. But you see all the blobs of yellow, orange, and red down here just symbolizes strong to severe storms for Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. And then I do think there's a potential for some severe weather getting into Monday morning of next week. And then it does something kind of weird right here that we're not going to pay attention to for now. So let's talk about today's weather. We got a washout that we are waking up to from the mid-Atlantic coastal areas all the way up through southern New England, all the way up through Maine. I mean, this is a washout. This is definitely going to get the Monday morning mood flowing. That's sarcasm. It definitely won't. But you can see the rest of the country, you got energy flowing up to the north. We're getting some pretty heavy snow up here in the northern areas of North Dakota, Minnesota. But the middle of the country is pretty quiet as a ridge is going to quickly spike all the way up into this area and such. So a severe weather threat today, not much of one. I will watch for some stronger storms in the eastern North Carolina area, PD of South Carolina, some storms in western areas of the U.S., but nothing severe. The shot of excessive rainfall, surprisingly, there isn't. And I'm actually kind of surprised there's nothing for New England, but there isn't. So today's weather, any energy is trying to clear out, but it's having a hard time doing so. This is definitely not a system that's moving quickly, that's basically brought all that severe weather over the weekend. It is a slow-moving system. So we're actually going to get some thunderstorms that try to pop up maybe from Myrtle Beach up to Wilmington, up to the Outer Banks later this afternoon. And I really think that these have the potential to produce some hail. So do not be surprised if we get a hailstorm in this area of the Carolinas right into here. I think we just need to watch some storms right into this area. Tornadoes, no. But some hail, probably. So just be aware of that. We get into the overnight hours, it's quiet. Nothing going on. The Northeast, we're going to continue to deal with washout conditions through the morning, through the afternoon. Some cold air could catch up with this, switch it to snow in northern Maine, even in the central Maine, but I don't think it'll be a big deal. And then by the time waking up tomorrow morning, some cooler air is moving in. But rainfall, additional rainfall between now and the next 24 hours, a couple more inches of rain is possible in areas of Mass and Rhode Island. And then we go up into Maine. This is what we're looking at here. A couple inches of rain in the eastern half of the state of Maine. A little bit of snow, maybe a half an inch that falls behind this rain, but I wouldn't expect a whole lot. South central U.S., quiet day of weather. Winds will start to probably pick up as we're waking up tomorrow morning. But today, quiet weather expected. We got some snow in the north central U.S., cruising to the northern counties of North Dakota, Minnesota. But as we get into this afternoon, things will probably taper off. Give you guys a few inches of wet snow, and then our next system tries to enter the picture out here in the Dakotas in the form of some snow along the North Dakota-South Dakota border. And then out west, that same storm system that's going to do everything that I just talked about in the beginning of the video is going to cruise across the Rockies in the western U.S. today. And this is going to bring some snow for many areas. And as we're waking up tomorrow morning, it's kind of day one of the event across the plains. But snowfall between now and the next 48 hours, several inches of snow in the higher elevations. The valley regions, not as much. Might even get a little bit of snow down the Salt Lake City, but I wouldn't expect a whole lot. Then we look kind of at the southern mode of this, and this is how much snow you're expecting down here. Temperatures, you can see a little cold front moving in. This will keep you guys cooler in the Ohio Valley. But, Illinois will be a funny state today where, the eastern sections of Illinois only in the 50s, maybe 40s. You're in the 70s in the far, probably western sections of Illinois. So, big ridge, spiking quick. This is warming you guys up big time across the plains. Some areas that'll get a blizzard here in the next 48 hours. We'll get into the 80s today. It's just the way it is with the changing of the seasons. You get dynamic weather. And these are temperatures out west. That's all I got. Thank y'all for tuning in. A little rusty in that video. But we made it through. Pretty quick, too. Just under 22 minutes. So, God bless all y'all. Have a wonderful day. And we'll talk to you tomorrow morning. God bless.